this is Rennie with Edge Combatives, and this is David with Lycan
Defensive Training and Yoga.
I didn't want to screw that up because I usually will. So let's talk about drills, right? FMA drills. The majority of the FMA drills you see online look fancy, right?
Oh yeah.
Attract a lot of attention, but they're just that, right? They're just drills, and a lot of people get misconception. Oh, this looks really cool. This is how it happens in a fight. There must be some John Wick badass, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
But drills are useful. Drills develop skill, but they don't always look that way in the application of the drill, right? It could look slightly different. A drill might have maybe 5 parts to it, but in application, you're only going to use one because the one part already puts you in a different position than you would be in, right? So we're gonna do a little example of 3 different drills that we do that are commonly known in FMA, and we'll kind of take it a little bit apart and see where the application comes in. So the first one is hubud. You see a lot of variations of this, but it's typically a punch, a parry, a deflection, and a tap, right? And we'll go right back and forth, right? And we can move around, right? Here, right? Right. Whew, almost ate that one. So, does a fight look like that? Not really. Right?
Not anyone I've ever been in.
In fact, it's the first deflection. The first is all I'm really trying to go for. But we keep it in a drill so we can build our skill for the next for whatever comes after that. So let's just say for the first punch, if somebody's punching me, right? If I can grab this, that's fine. I'm really just trying to move offline. He punches me, right? I'm trying to get here. So for application, right? The first punch, if he comes with a cross, I really want to get offline. This is just, if I have to do it, right? My second is my counter attack. I'm not just doing the drill here, right? He attacks, right? I'm coming up, and I'm actually trying to punch or destroy his face, right? And come across. Because even if he pulls it back, because nobody punches and keeps it out there, right? Like he's not going to punch and then keep it out there, right? Even if he pulls it back, I'm coming to his face here, right? As long as I get offline. So that's imperative that you have your footwork, timing, to when he punches, I'm getting offline. If I don't, then it's useless. I'm already getting punched, right?
Negates the whole thing.
Right? But that's why we have the parry as well, because I'm getting offline and I'm making sure it gets crossed. It deflects my face, and then I'm actually attacking here, right? But we start that in the drill because we're doing the drills just so we can develop that skill of getting there, right? And then I continue the beat down of whatever we want, right?
Yes.
A lot of people will do the drill like this, right? Not even aiming for his face. They're training wrong, right? So he punches me and he punches me here. It's no longer training me, right? I should be punch you right here. Right? I should be getting out the way, right? I shouldn't just be doing this because he's punching here. So the drill is there, right? That's really developing the skill, and I'm getting ahead of time. We talked about in one of your other videos, ahead, on time, and behind time, right? We always want to stay ahead of time.
One of the things that I've noticed also is that you see a lot of people. Not only do they punch to the side of the head, but they're also throwing punches from right here. And this is one of my pet peeves. Is like if I'm gonna defend a punch, so to speak, like that punch has to be to where it's actually going to make that contact. Right. Because if it doesn't, like, what are you even doing? Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So that brings us into Sagong Labo. Blades. So second drill, Sagong Labo, right? You can do this long blade or short blade. For now, we're just going to use the short blade, right? So you'll see people do the drill here, right? So he'll stop it, right? Bring it. Stop it, bring it, right? Now, if I'm trying to stop his attack right here, he's already got so much momentum. There's no way I'm going to stop that, right? Now, of course, you can start off that way because it's developing some skill to get it around, right? Right. But in reality, the drill, he should be stopping me back here, right? Yes, and I should be following it back here, back there, right? You should be attacking it before it gets ahead, right? Real dynamic, right? We shouldn't let it just get right here. We can start off here because we're learning the mechanics, right? But as you learn the mechanics, then he's got to learn to stop it back there. Right. That's the real drill. That's the application. So if he's attacking me, right, I'm coming way in to get around. Or I'm coming way in, even better. So he attacks, right? I'm coming in on the ahead of time with this hand instead of this hand. Instead of stopping and parrying, in reality, I want to be on the outside already with this.
Well, that makes sense. You know, from a practitioner standpoint, you know, it's you should not get in your mind used to just like this is just a rubber blade, right?
Yeah.
When you're training, you should be training with the idea of like, yes, it's rubber, and you know we can mess up, but it represents the real thing, and with it being a real thing, right? Metal beats flesh every single time. So if you're staying right in front of this thing, essentially,
yeah, right.
You know,
if I'm trying to stop something here, it's not the safest place for me to be.
No, at all.
Yeah,
you should always be
moving.
Yeah,
I do not want to be here.
Yes.
For that matter, if I'm already here and it's already that close, I'm stepping out.
100%.
I'm not going to try to, if I can, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to try to attack it right there when it's already too late, right? But most of the drills you see online, the guys are doing this, right there.
Well, the knife.
Or they do this. This is one that gives me, that I have a pet peeve with, right? They go,
yes.
So if you ever train with somebody who trains a blade, do you think you're going to get your hand on it when I do that, right?
No, not at all.
That's impossible, right? There's no way you're going to even make contact, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I see that, now as a weapons training person, if I see the hand coming out to even try to parry that, right? I'm just going to circle around and come around and cut him in the face. Right?
Well, and one of the other things that you brought up in the last drill, and you kind of touched on it, but I think it bears repeating because, you know, these are drills, right?
Yeah.
And the idea of a drill is to learn, you know, different skill sets, but the idea is also not to get stuck in the drill. So if you do see this coming, right, being ahead of timing, right, you wouldn't put yourself in a position to sit there. And that's where understanding from the training comes from, is that, yeah, we have these drills for these certain types of scenarios, but the idea should always be to be ahead of timing. You know, so if I'm coming in with this and you see that, right, if you have to go back because maybe you're a little bit behind, you know, you wouldn't necessarily engage in no man's land, so to speak, unless you absolutely had to. But if you were ahead of timing, right, how would that translate into the Sagung LeBeau drill? So
if I'm ahead of time,
yeah, you see it coming.
I'm skipping the block. If I'm here and he goes attack, I'm here out. Or he goes attack, right? I'm cutting it and getting out, right? So I'm letting him bring his blade to me and then cut it. If there's not distance, if I cannot create distance, then I'm attacking here first. Good point is the drills are just the drills, right? We're recognizing where the weapon's at. Here, right? If I'm here, I don't have to do the Sagung LeBeau. If he's ahead of time, he can come on the outside, right? Come up. Come on the outside, right? I try to tell my students, you learn these drills, but once you recognize where a blade's at, which is our pattern recognition, then you can pick whichever counterattack best suits you for your next attack. Right? He doesn't have to. You know, it depends what you can do, what your terrain allows, what your timing allows. The drills let you learn that from there. Right? So these drills are useful, but majority of practitioners don't explain how to apply them correctly. Next one, next drill. You were talking to Long Blade. I think we worked on his videos. You could check it out. I'll post it in the bottom. Daca Pipunho, right? So this is on his video. I think we applied it to empty hands, right? How we do it to empty hands. So let's get our long blades.
Yes, sir.
So our Daca Pipunho, right? This drill, we'll do it nice and on time, right? So all our drills generally start equal timing, right? Because I know he's in attack, counter, right? I'm trying to counter, right here. So that's not an application, obviously. I've actually seen a video of somebody trying to use that as an application, and they were doing this exact drill, but with force. A real fight's not going to look like that. Like, he's not going to come in and I'm not going to be here, right? And then he's going to be, we're fighting here, and then we're fighting here, right? It's not going to happen.
Sometimes it would be cool if it did, because it would make our jobs a lot easier, right? But
so there's other drills within the drill that we actually do to speed up the timing or to make it effective for an application, right? And realistically, if you got good footwork and he comes in, I'm not even going to be right here, right? Unless I have to. Right? I'm not going to stay in this spot to where he can attack me unless I have to, right? If he comes in, right, and he comes in, right, I'm going to be out and gone before the next attack is. Or if you've seen that I could have, he comes in, right, I'm already critiquing it to his head. But the timing, right? So if we want to keep it within drill and make it a little more realistic, we just change the timing or change the drill up. So if he comes in here, our typical drill's here, right? I come in, he comes in really fast. I have to critique it instead of coming in and getting here, because he brings that up too fast. He said, okay, I want to be ahead of time. I want to beat you in the face instead of you countering. So I have to bring the timing in here, right? And this also, if you recognize it, it kind of goes into looks like our break and break out drill, right? Because I'm already moving out to get here, right? So this is kind of going into another part of the drill. If he wants to counter that, he comes in, I do this, right? I want to stay ahead of time. I bring it in. He four walls it there, right? So that's that. Even though this is a drill, that's a little more dynamic and a little more realistic than just staying in contact here, right? Whereas I can move. Want to be mobile. So if he attacks, right, I'm here. Then if I go, he's in here, right? We're creating distance, and then we're back out to distance, 5 attacks, right? So again, the drills are useful. They develop your skills, but the real application is never really like the drill.